You talk of how you see a society, and you're not sworn in court that this is what I believe, but what do you suspect?
Well, here's what I think. I think what's happened here is that in the past, there's been political repression throughout U.S. history. Whenever there's political groups that are challenging the U.S. government, they've been repressed. And you can go all the way back to the abolitionist movement and right up to the IWW and, you know, the labor movement, the Communist Party, civil rights movement, black liberation movement. But a lot of the things that were used against these movements were done secretly and illegally, and they were ultimately uncovered, and sometimes people were prosecuted for those things, government officials, and at least in many cases the government admitted that they did wrong and pledged to not do it again. But today what I see as the difference is they're doing these things through changes in the law, essentially. So the drone attacks, assassinations, which were always illegal, are now legal. They're justifying them. The courts have refused to step in. The Attorney General is saying it's due process because within the executive department we decide who should be killed, and the president has a kill list and they meet and talk about it. But usually if there was a challenge to a denial of the rights to life and liberty, you could go to the court and the court could decide whether your due process rights are being violated. Now it's being done strictly through the executive department, through the Justice Department. The courts are not involved. And in many cases where they bring a challenge in court, the government raises this thing called the state securities privilege, which means it's secret. And therefore, even though you claim we've done something to violate your constitutional rights, you can't challenge it in court, because in order to challenge it, we would have to expose our classified policies. So the policy of rendition, where you transfer someone to a foreign court, a foreign government to be tortured, that's secret. Even the people who are subject to that can't challenge it. There's surveillance and the wiretapping of U.S. citizens, which is going on a massive level. When you go to court, they say it's secret and we can't tell you our policy and you can't sue to challenge it. This material support law that is now being used, it's legal now to criminalize someone for their First Amendment conduct if it's considered in support of a terrorist group. And it's so vague, and now they've passed this law under the National Defense Authorization Act, which allows the president to detain people indefinitely without trial, without bail, if they're part of a group affiliated with or supportive of Al-Qaeda. But what is affiliated and supportive? These are all vague terms, and in fact a lawsuit was brought on behalf by Noam Chomsky and Chris Hedges, and the judge said to the government, can you guarantee that Mr. Hedges and Mr. Chomsky won't be detained under this law? And the government said, we can't guarantee that. We wouldn't make that. So what they're doing now in this period, in the age of Obama, is legalizing all these different methods of repression, and therefore you either can't challenge it because it's the law, or if you do challenge it, it's secret and classified, and you can't get to the court. So
is this a rewriting of the Constitution?
Yeah, essentially it is a rewriting of the Constitution. It's taking away the First Amendment, it's taking away the Fifth Amendment, right to remain silent, it's taking away the right to bail, and it's taking away the right to be due process, essentially. They can kill somebody, a U.S. citizen. They killed this 16-year-old boy. They didn't even have any evidence that he was involved. He was the son of Al-Awlaki, who they killed, who was a U.S. citizen, and they just droned him, and without any hearing or anything, without any charges. So yes, the U.S. Constitution is being emasculated by this, and the problem is that because it's Obama, the Democrats have been silent about it. If it was President McCain doing these things, people would, the Democrats would be up in arms. But no one wants to criticize Obama. The Democrats don't want to. So what we're getting is a bipartisan repression, which is institutionalizing these things, legalizing them, and basically rewriting the Constitution. I think that's a fair statement.